Hello, everyone. You might have noticed something new about me. I did post the original sketch for this, I think a couple days ago, but I genuinely love this drawing so much. And as much as I love the original sprites, they were outdated. And by outdated, I mean I dyed my hair, and it's half blondish now. It's kind of faded since then, but for cartoonic purposes, I kept it a little blonder. Um, I don't know. Honestly, I just really felt like redrawing it. And even though it's kind of simple and not as emotive as my last ones, I will most likely make some more that are more like I don't know the word emotive. I'm gonna use that again, emotive. But I'm not going to talk long in the beginning because this video is already long, and I just want to go ahead and get right into the thick of it. Okay, so I started off this project by getting pieces of art from the past for the 2 years. I tried to grab a piece from the beginning of the year, one from the end of the year, just to get a range of like kind of what I'm dealing with. I believe this is for 2 years ago. My art back then was definitely better in some parts. I feel like I lost a little bit of the, I guess, sparkle. I mean, it might be, I don't know, some people might be like, well, just because you stopped using the halftone brush and stuff. I'm like, maybe. But, I don't know, I don't know, back then, it was like, art was like really an outlet for me, and it still is, but it was just easier and more accessible for me. I was also younger, so it was easier for me to just draw and not worry about anything else. But that has definitely changed. I believe this is for, I want to say the first year, but or at least the first segment, but I change it to be more 2019ish because I feel like the art in this period is just kind of bland. Not the little gesture guy on the bottom. He doesn't count. I liked him. He's one of my favorites to this day. But when we get to the drawing part, you'll see that I do use a little bit of a different reference. And I believe it's a 2019 summary like template I did. And this, I believe a lot of the art I did back then was before I got like a screen. I had a screen tab, but at the time I was still drawing on my laptop. So it was definitely more put together in some ways. But before we get to that, I will talk about the subject of this, and that is Miguel. He is a My Hero C I made, I think like a month ago, June, that I made kind of as like a joke. I mean, it wasn't a joke. It was more me and my friends were rewatching My Hero, and I was like, wow, this show is not as great as I remember being, but you know what is great? Making characters that go into the show. Um, his quirk is that he releases a toxin gas of sort from his mouth, as you can see, very original, I know. And I had found this reference you can see on the bottom left of, I'm not sure if it's like a model or a specific like celebrity. I don't know. I just found it on Pinterest and I was like, perfect. So I changed the playing card to a arcane card for death. I changed the art because this is like official one I know of to match his tattoo. And just know I do not draw the tattoo. I only draw it on this first one, and then the other two I guess I forget, but that's very in character for me. It's a plume of smoke in the shape of skulls. Very, very edgy, but it's okay. I gave him a lot of like my dream piercings because this guy is very inspired by Uta from Tokyo Ghoul, and Uta in Tokyo Ghoul is a tattoo artist, so you might know as one of the, I believe the most like noticeable thing about his character design is that he has blacked out eyes, which I believe is an actual tattoo method people get. And I was like, wow, that sounds like something he would do. So I gave it to him. I also gave him shark bites. I call them snake bites, but I recently found out I think they're called shark bites. So that will be changed and updated eventually. But He also has a little eyebrow piercing, and he has a barbell like in his ear that's more spikes, and he also has gauges. He doesn't have anything else that's like characteristic to him besides that. I guess his clothes, and I gave him some bracelets because, I mean, he's a Segis, I can make him. Honestly, out of the three, I think this one was the hardest. Just because I did this first, so that when I did the other two, it wouldn't like influence me, and I feel like it'd be like not accurate. But after looking back at the other two and then look at this one, it's been very like eye-opening. Like I've been like, wow, there's a lot of stuff in my art I miss. So next time I draw, maybe it will be more inspired by myself. That is a new concept. But it's not the first. I have looked through my old art a lot because there are times where I feel like I just kind of lost it, like I was saying earlier. So I will just go through like my old Instagram, maybe by like really old Deviant art, and just be like, what can I come back to? My roots. And my roots apparently is very I don't know the word. I guess simple, but at least, well, as we'll see in the upcoming section, it is very, well, I can't think of the right word, because it's not simple in the sense of like, I feel like it's easy to do, but it's also not exactly world changing. It's very inspired by, I believe like Garfield and like Dilbert, really old newspapers, comic books, because when I was younger, that's kind of all I read, and I love drawing and copying them. But a lot of the art from 2019 was inspired. Okay, so on to the next segment. Um, my it says 3 years ago, but like realistically, it's four. So 4 years ago, my art style was very different. I was very on the side of, I guess, like, unrealistic proportions as possible. That, and like I mentioned before, I was very inspired by early, like, newspaper comics, like, again, Dilbert, Garfield, Charlie Brown, etc. So a lot of my art was very, like, big eyes, small proportion body, not a lot of details. And I remember, like, my magnum opus in this time period was the brush I'm using right now. I can't remember the name of it. It'll be in the description though, because I still use it to this day. And it's just a simple, like, to the point. Like, there's no pen pressure, there's no effect. It's just straight, like, it's kind of like a ballpoint, like, pen, where it's just round and done. Nothing else to it. Kind of same with the art style. Big eyes, very minimal nose, a lot of line details. Like, I never connected my line work. It was always like line dot 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 or tapered, like you can notice in certain areas of this drawing. And let me tell you, trying to color is a pain doing that, because since almost none of the lines are closed, I can't just do my usual line tool select or whatever. I gotta outline it and do the whole shebang, which is fine. I mean, it keeps me on my toes, keeps me warmed up. I did record all three of these stages, like, separately, since I was very busy this week, but I am trying to remember each individual thought process and, like, why I did certain things. But my main, like, takeaway from this challenge was I was trying to learn and adapt from old art and things I enjoyed. And I also was trying to get into, like, the mindset I had back then when it came to art. So I tried to think, like, okay, if I was drawing this character, what would I do? What would I change? Or how would I draw certain parts? Like, I know, for example, like, the bracelet and the piercings would be very simplified. And everything else, I feel like, kind of be the same. It's still simplified, and it's still, like, his nose and things are not as detailed as I might have. And his eyes are very, like, again, straight to the point. And the hands back then were also very simple. Not a lot, like, very chubby chibi like, but more human proportioned. I don't entirely remember where I got that from specifically. I think every artist when they're young goes through an arc where they have the fingers connecting. Like, for me, it was always the two middle ones, but for the continued purpose of this drawing, I just made it like the pinky and ring finger, I believe. Although if I made it the two middle ones, I feel like that'd probably be more fitting, but oh well. I did forget his tattoo. Very sad, since that's, like, one of his staple design choices. But I mean, no one's perfect, so it is what it is. I've noticed that a lot, like, one of the most consistent things about my art is the shading, in the sense of, like, I usually try to keep the outline on it. I remember seeing that, like, a how-to tutorial art video, like, a long time ago, and it just kind of stuck with me, I guess. I don't know. I guess I just thought it was, like, cool as hell. I mean, it is. I definitely like it, and I still like it, since I still keep using it. But I definitely feel like I can execute it better. But at the same time, I do kind of like how it's just kind of, the shading is very, like, bold and gets to the point. But I mean, there's no specific light source in a lot of these cases, so the shading is kind of just what I feel like looks right. And oh my goodness, the highlights. I think that's one of my biggest staples. Like, I remember asking people, like, what's something about my art you recognize the most? And a lot of people always said, oh, the highlights, the hair. Because to this day, and I still do it, I am very particular about my hair highlights, where they're always usually big and, like, and taking up all the space. And I don't know, I don't even particularly remember where I got that from either. I just remember doing it, like, it just came to me. I was like, it was like a vision. I was like, okay, I must do this. And I did. And I still do to this day, because I think it helps me stand out in a way that I feel like speaks about my art. So that's been fun to kind of go back and see how it all circles around, and how I am consistent. I didn't think I was, but here I am. Oh, this one was so fun. I think I did this in 40 minutes because this style I'm going off of is one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite eras of art. I was just so free and fun, and I didn't care. I just wanted to draw. The piece I'm referencing was for Draw This in Your Style for Peachip on Instagram. Um, and to this day, it's still one of my favorite drawings. I honestly have thought about redrawing it, but it's not my character, so I kind of like don't want to take too much artistic liberty with it, but we'll see. I don't know. I just love how I love the colors and just how I love the halftones. I miss using halftones, but finding a halftone brush for Clip Studio is a pain. At least it was back then, and it still kind of is because I have this PNG called halftone PNG, and it's just a basic halftone. I have been using it for like the last 3 years. Usually you might see me like put it in the background or like I guess just wherever I feel like it fits. And let me tell you, it's hard working on a PNG that takes up usually your entire canvas. You have to resize it and erase it and then copy and paste it. It's just a whole thing. So I've been on the hunt for a halftone brush, and I have found a couple. I do use them in this drawing since I feel like halftones was like the one of the most important characteristics of my art back then. So I made sure to use it like a lot because I was very, very loose about it. This one might be my favorite, honestly. I love the color choices, even though the only thing that really changed was the color of his like makeup. But I just enjoyed it so much. I was like, yeah. And I just love the line art and how like I don't know, the shading I'm okay on, but I do just enjoy everything else. And I just thought this was a really fun piece, and has made me realize maybe I should be more open about it. Like one of my main goals in art is I just want to draw, and I want my drawings to really push the limits. I guess in the sense of, I don't know, I want to break out my comfort zone of just drawing like a character, and then sometimes there's some wacky effects on it. I don't want that. I want to be more like, when people see my art, I want them to be like, wow, like that really draws your attention. Kind of like Crooked Glasses. I love their art. I love their art so much. I have been following them for at least probably almost 10 years now, it feels like. I had discovered their art, I think, I can't remember where. I will say, I think they came on my recommendations on like DeviantArt one time, and then I kind of fell off. Then I started watching Game Grumps when I was younger. Whew. And then I found out that they were the artist for their channel, and I was like, wow, I love that. So now here I am, and to this day, they are still one of my biggest inspirations, and I'm trying my best to be more like them, which is why you might notice sometimes my art's more edgy, kind of like a new certain monkey. But in this picture, I try to keep that essence I had back then of like loose, free. Like the line art is kind of not as clean as it might have been today, but that's okay because it still ended up looking good. And I actually do kind of like the shading. On the end, I am kind of 50-50 on the like the skin part, but the clothing and everything else I enjoy. I like that gummy, like shiny look. So of course I had like a soft spot in the half tones. Oh, they were actually fun. I think I might use them more. Honestly, I did really learn a lot from this. And again, you can find the original creator for this template in my description and on Twitter. But I don't know. I just really like the idea of just redrawing old art or drawing in an old style. And even though it might have been a pain at the time, because trust me, it was a pain at first, which is why I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna do this again. And it's fitting since the most popular answer on a poll I did recently is to redraw old art. So please be on the lookout for that. It's done! Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and for those of you who stayed. Mwah. This has been a fun journey so far, just making videos and interacting with y'all and listening to y'all, and it's been just really great. And I am sad I didn't get to stream this week, and unfortunately I might not be able to again for a while, but I am trying to before I leave. I have to go back to school, so look for that in the future. My next video, I'm hoping to either be, like I said earlier, a redraw of old art, or maybe just something fun, like another challenge. um, I might try and combine two of the most popular answers to a poll, maybe even. But for now, all I have to say is good evening, good afternoon, good night, and remember to take care of yourself. Bye bye.